Hey, what's up everyone? Here's Gore's Month of Horror number 14, and this time I'm looking at Paranormal Activity 2, the sequel to the really big smash surprise hit of last year, which made like over $100 million off a $15 and a cheeseburger budget. And, you know, I was somewhat excited for it when I first heard about it. Then I saw the trailer, and I was like, okay, it looks exactly the same as Paranormal Activity 1. I didn't even want to see it, to be honest, because I thought it was going to be the same crap. I was like, ah. Then I heard some really, positive reviews for the film. Like, oh no, it's kind of the same, but it's much scarier, has different kind of scenes, but it's still the same. They're in the house, they don't leave, but there's ghosts there. So I said, screw it. I spent the $8.50 to see it. Did I like it? I don't know, but before I get to the review, let me say this is going to be an unedited review, because if you listen to my Gore's Month of Horrors 1 to 13, then I don't do edited reviews for these, because there's so many movies coming out, so I can't really just think about what I'm going to say every freaking time, which I usually never do anyway, but whatever. This is going to be unedited. You're going to hear me go a lot. So yeah, let's get straight into the review. Whatever. Okay, if I had explained the plot of Paranormal Activity 2, I would pretty much say it's exactly the same as Paranormal Activity 1, except you add three different things. You add a 17-year-old girl, you add a baby, and you add a dog. And you have the parents, obviously. You get the mom and the dad, and there you go. There's 5 people in a house with a ghost. That's really the story. In the beginning, this couple thinks it's a break-in. Like everything's messed up in the house when they come back, and they're like, "Oh no!" So they set up security cameras here and there, and they quickly find out it's a ghost. So there you go. I explained the story pretty simply right there. So let me go on to what I liked about the film and what I didn't like. The acting in Paranormal Activity 2 is really good, just like the first one. I really like the acting in the first one, except maybe the lead girl was a little bit annoying in the first one. In this one, the main girl in this one is much better. The main guy in this film is much better also, even though he's kind of like the same thing in the first one, where he's like, these ghosts, it's not a ghost, or blah, 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 whatever, he's like, he doesn't believe that it's a ghost in this house. In this one, it makes more sense because it starts off with just like pots and pans moving around and a pool cleaner suddenly coming up out of the water somehow. And it's like, stuff that could, happen without a ghost moving it. So he's like, him saying, it's not a ghost, we're staying here, makes more sense than in the last one where the girl gets dragged against a freaking wall and he's like, no, come on, staying in the house. It's much better in this film. So that's like 2 positives right there. It makes more sense, and the acting's a little better. So there you go. That's 2 positives. The setting is actually much better in this one. It's the same thing. It's a house, but this time you have more cameras. You get pretty much a camcorder. You get a whole bunch of security cameras, like I said before. And, it's cool that it moves around this house really good, and it makes sense why it would. It's a security camera. You can just, take parts of this video and put them all together. And, it makes more sense. So you can zoom into this part real quick or something, so some action's going on here. Boom, go there. And, I really like that. I also really liked the characters in this are just really good. I love that they took the first 30 minutes of the film just to explain these characters and make them look like human beings. They put more comedic parts in there. Not to be kind of mean-spirited in the first one. Not really mean-spirited, but the main guy in the first one really didn't believe at all, so he would crack jokes every 5 seconds. This one, the main character cracks 1 or 2 jokes, but not really that much like the first guy did in the first Paranormal Activity, which was good because that was really annoying in the first one, even though some of his jokes were kind of funny, like in this one. The 2 or 3 he does in this one's pretty funny. So, I really like the character development. What else do I like? The amount of scares you get in this film. Holy crap, I was actually pretty scared in this film. You'd think it's mostly just stuff moving around or doors slamming, and there's a couple of times when that's mostly what's happening, but there's some times where it's just setting up a scene. It takes a minute or 2, this person's just walking around looking, I just heard something over here. She sits down and have a apple or something, and then freaking a whole big thing just happens. And come on, that was so perfectly planned in the film, and it was pretty scary, like stuff like that. There's also some stuff that is a little screwed up, like the ending's really screwed up, and I liked it, but yeah, you had to have seen the first one to understand what was going on. So yeah, there's a lot of screwed up stuff in this film. So that's what I really liked about this film. Let me go on to what I didn't like about it. Sometimes the film gets a little boring, and just in parts, not really, really boring, but just like some parts, it's like, okay, it's getting a little tiresome. There's like a couple nights where there's really nothing happening except one thing moves like a half an inch. I'm like, okay, that was pointless. That was like a minute and a half. So some of the scenes were a little, pointless and boring. The story isn't the greatest, and the reason why is because they try to put too much of the first one into this. Like, they try to tie it together too much. This is pretty much like a prequel, like I said before. I'm pretty sure I said before. And they try a little too hard with it, and it was a little annoying. It fell flat sometimes, but the ending really made up for most of that. So yeah, I'll just say right here, I really liked this film. I actually really, really, really liked it. It's pretty creepy. It has its moments. It could be boring a little bit, and the story could be blah sometimes. And even, I would even say some of the acting's blah sometimes. But I wasn't expecting great acting from a whole bunch of people that barely have acted before. So overall, I really liked the film. I did, just like the first one. And if you like the first one, then you're definitely gonna like this one. If I had to give a score, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it. So yeah, it was creepy. Had some really good characters, and yeah, there you go. Creepy. Had some good characters that you cared for. So there you go. There's my review. There's Gore's Month of Horror number 14. We're getting close to the end. 9 more days until the Halloween season is over, and Halloween begins. I don't know what I'm going to do for Halloween, but I'll figure it out when it gets here. So, yeah. There you go. 8.5 out of 10. Definitely go check it out. It's a pretty good movie. So, yeah. Thank you and goodbye.